Good evening, folks. This is Deb. So I'm here to talk about a couple things, and I'm here to show you a highlight reel, a great highlight reel. But first, I'm going to dispel, forget the dispel thing. I'm actually going to burst some bubbles for all of you here, okay? So, as you all now know, Lynn Dunn, who is a legend, not just in Indiana, but in women's basketball, has been named a coaching consultant for the Indiana Fever for the 2026 season in honor of, by the way, Women's Month. Okay. Now, and right away, I can see the foam on some people's lips. Okay. About the fact that the reason they're doing this is because Stephanie White's a bad coach and she's trying to keep Caitlin Clark from playing her game. So, you know what? Get a grip. All right. Let me just tell you something. If the Indiana Fever thought that Stephanie White wasn't a good coach for the Indiana Fever, she wouldn't be with the Indiana Fever. She was signed for one season. Okay. They didn't have to re sign her. And they certainly wouldn't be stupid enough to put her in that position and hire a babysitter for her, because that's not what Lynn Dunn is there to do. She's there to mentor people. Okay. She's there to give everyone the wealth of experience that she has gained from what? I don't know how many years in the basketball world. She is legend. And by the way, she is very much still in touch with Caitlin Clark and has been since Caitlin Clark got out of college. In fact, Lynn Dunn was the woman in 2022 as a member of the Fever Brass who said, "Here she comes. How can we get her? We have to find a way to get her without breaking the rules." And in 2024, Caitlin Clark became the Indiana Fever's #1 pick. So let me make things abundantly clear. I listened to all of this nonsense, and I'm already seeing the videos, the pictures of the content creators with a picture of Stephanie White crying in the background and Lynn Dunn in the foreground, and then the content creator on the side like there's something really big going on in Indiana. Get over yourselves. Get over yourselves, because I'm going to tell you what I watched last year. Okay? I watched people piss and moan about Stephanie White because the Indiana Fever didn't come out of the gates at the beginning of the year in a cohesive manner. So let me tell you something. They're going to be in the same boat this year. Because here's what happened last year. Last year, they added 5 new players. And it takes time for a team to gel in the real basketball world. You don't gel with 2 weeks of training camp under your belt. That is not being in a game situation. I didn't see Stephanie White stop Caitlin Clark from playing her game. Caitlin Clark was injured the majority of the season. But the games that I saw her in, including the one that I attended in Boston Garden, nobody was stopping her from playing her game. I showed you a highlight reel of 20 minutes worth of Caitlin Clark's magic from a season where she only played 13 games. Okay? So keep in mind this. The Indiana Fever right now only have 3 players signed. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Michaela Timpson. Caitlin Clark herself has stated that Kelsey Mitchell must be back. And I believe that Lexi Hull will also be one of the people protected, because Lexi Hull over Sophie Cunningham must be back. Okay? So that means they're going to be added if they carry 12 players, they're going to be adding almost 7 players to their team, new, from either free agency or the collegiate draft or whatever. And that team is going to have to gel all over again. Okay? All over again. Because I'm going to say right now, flat out, I don't think any of the rest of the players from last year's team are going to be back. Maybe Sophie Cunningham, because I still don't think either expansion team is going to touch Sophie Cunningham because she is an unrestricted free agent. All right. And they'll be worried about being able to keep her. So Sophie Cunningham could very well be back. So let's call it 6 players. They still have to add 6 new players. And all of those players are going to have to learn how to meld all over again. Okay? And the rookie who was drafted at number 10 in the first round may never even see the floor. We don't know. But they certainly aren't going to get, unless they're really an outstanding rookie, okay, that falls into the number 10 slot, will probably not get any more minutes than Michaela Timpson did. But in the meantime, Michaela Timpson spent the offseason making herself a better basketball player. And she is certainly going to be a great player for the Indiana Fever. So that's why I am saying that they should not protect Sophie Cunningham over Michaela Timpson, because someone will take Michaela Timpson. Okay? But back to the whole Lynn Dunn thing. The cap off to Lynn Dunn's career would be to win a championship now that they have Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. And honestly, are almost assured to get Kelsey Mitchell back. They will do whatever it takes to get her back, and they must. This is their opportunity now with a healthy Caitlin Clark. All right? So why not? Why not? She is not there to babysit Stephanie White. And I'm going to tell you right now, flat out, straight out, I am not going to spend this entire season dissecting and nailing Stephanie White to a cross. Okay? I have better things to do with my time. So let's talk about another conversation I've been having with people. This notion that somehow Christy Wallace is going to come back. I wouldn't protect Christy Wallace over Michaela Timpson either. First of all, Christy Wallace playing 3-on-3 does not mean Christy Wallace is a right fit for the new Indiana Fever team. She should not be protected. They don't even know if she's coming back at this point. There has been no story out there, no indication from anybody that Christy Wallace wants to come back to the Indiana Fever. Yes, the Indiana Fever own her rights. Okay, that's great. Okay, they should not protect her in the expansion draft. If she comes back, she comes back. Whatever the Fever decide to do with her is whatever the Fever decide to do with her. But she is 1 year now removed from the team. Okay? And the Indiana Fever have to move on and consider building a team that can go to the championship this year. And by the way, on the NBC broadcast that Caitlin Clark was on the other night, she laid down the gauntlet. She laid down the gauntlet on national TV by saying that the Indiana Fever certainly has to be considered the favorite to win the championship in 2026. Caitlin Clark did what she usually does, is she laid down the gauntlet for her teammates, for prospective free agents who may or may not be considering coming to the Indiana Fever, for the brass in the Indiana Fever organization, and for the coaching staff. Caitlin Clark laid down the gauntlet. And she is ready to go out there in 2026 and lead the team. She is not going to win this championship alone, but she can certainly lead the team to the championship. Nobody wins a championship alone. Okay? Now, some of you folks who don't like Stephanie White were the same folks who didn't like Christy Sides, because for some of you folks, unless it's Lisa Bluder, everybody else sucks. But the reality is that Lisa Bluder was a college coach. And by the way, Lisa Bluder coached Caitlin Clark. She did not hand Caitlin Clark the ball and tell her to run the team. Okay? She did not. You can think what you want, but she did not. All right? And the Indiana Fever are not the Iowa Hawkeyes, where Caitlin Clark practically had to carry that team by herself. She certainly set up her team to be as successful as they were. The Indiana Fever is a different ball game, just like the WNBA is very different from college ball. So that's what I got tonight. Stop with the nonsense that, they put Lynn Dunn in that position because she has to babysit Stephanie White. They didn't have to re-sign Stephanie White for another season. They didn't. If they thought she sucked, they could have cut her loose. If Caitlin Clark, by the way, thought that Stephanie White was the wrong coach, Caitlin Clark, who we know has significant input to what the Fever does, from what Sophie Cunningham said on her podcast, would certainly have input there. And Caitlin Clark was certainly behind Stephanie White becoming the coach of the Indiana Fever from the get-go. So get a grip, everyone. It's going to be a long season. And I've got better things to do than play dump on Stephanie, okay? We have a basketball team to watch here. So let's take a look at what I've got for you tonight. I got a great little video clip of Caitlin Clark as a young member of the FIBA team and Caitlin Clark as the 24-year-old, sorry about that, as the 24-year-old MVP of this year's FIBA team. I got highlights from both of those tournaments that are kind of melded together, and this was put together by FIBA, by the way. So let's take a look at what we got here. This is about 9 minutes long. Obviously, I'm not going to show all of it.
Oh, no. What a fake by Caitlin Clark. Wow. To the pull-up for two. That was beautiful.
Caitlin Clark doing her best Chelsea Gray impression. What a finish.
And off to Clark. A screen set by Betts. A three attempt. It's good.
USA comes back the other way, looking to punish. Caitlin Clark pulls up from deep. Chucks up the three. Spain wanted the call, but Paige is leaking. Her against Ioso, and that one is good for...
She's asking for the clear out. She wants the one-on-one on Melbourne. Takes the one-on-one and finishes with the right hand.
Caitlin Clark on the wing. Look at that.
To 22. USA ahead, 44. Hungary 22. Caitlin Clark for another three.
The game. Clark off the Iriafin screen. Pulls up for three, and there's nothing but net.
The USA 20, Australia 19. Nice fake by Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark, no one steps up, drives, kicks it to Becker.
And Clark has it with 6 seconds to play. Nice crossover to the step back. And a really smooth jump shot by Caitlin Clark.
Clark, one of the best passers there is in basketball. This time, gonna do it herself.
With 7 seconds, kicks to Citron. Is looking for Caitlin Clark, who'll put the three up. And in!
A minute and a half left to go in the first. Millings up to Clark. Clark takes her first shot. And it's a three, and it is good. Caitlin Clark to set something up off the Hamby screen. Dishes it into Hamby. Hamby makes that one look easy.
Nothing's going to be called. Trying to weave her way through.
Even just holding the ball so they can see it. They steal it just like that. If they see the ball, they can get their hands on it. They can get it.
Drive. Kick out. Clark trying to light it up some more. She does!
Caitlin Clark tries again, this time.
And layup, no good. Clark to the inside. Layup, it's good.
Italy is showing a zone now. 9 seconds to shoot. Inside to Billings. Billings, the reverse off the glass.
Wing to the inside. Diebel with it. Up against the out-of-bounds line. She's going to have to launch it. And now Clark driving for a layup, and it's good.
Fever for Caitlin Clark is high everywhere in the world.
And Caitlin Clark immediately making it in.
Betts gives a screen. Going to give it to Betts. Betts going to look at the situation. Pass out. Clark, three. Go!
Ryan Howard on the wing. Up to Caitlin Clark. Clark from deep. What a shot from Caitlin. Caitlin Clark. Caitlin is looking to share the ball. Comes off the screen. A nice pass into Copper. Copper up and under.
Caitlin Clark.
Brianna Jones. Caitlin Clark gets in the passing lane, goes coast to coast for the and one opportunity.
A little bit. Pass out. Clark. She's been hitting from three, and that's another one.
Surprising 13 of 16 so far from three for Team USA. And here we go, Caitlin Clark. Ryan Howard, back to Clark. Clark into Irefin, and Irefin off the glass.
Right corner. Drive. Clark. Fade. For two. It's good.
With 3 boards. Kelsey Plum, look at that steal. Hands it up to Caitlin Clark. As Team USA comes back the other way, looking to punish. Caitlin Clark pulls up from deep. And those are the Caitlin Clark logo threes we're used to seeing. Brings it up over to Plum. Plum hands it right back, and Clark off the Billings screen gets it into Monique Billings. And that's
As well, I believe. Clark goes. Layup. Good.
in with the rebound, but she saves it inbounds to Caitlin Clark.
Game for that club, so plenty of experiences.
Clark again. Another three for Clark. I think she's 4 of 8.
Clark off the Reese screen. Sidestep, deep three! And there's Caitlin Clark for her first triple. And this one right here was the exclamation mark on that play. Down with the steal. Paige Becker's wide open, and the crowd goes crazy.
But we're right here, right now, going with this game. Left corner, open three, it's good.
Monique Billings, Angel Reese, Ray Burrell, and Paige Beckers. Paige finds herself down low, kicks it out to Caitlin Clark. Clark puts it up, and nothing but net.
Tron with 8 to shoot. Back to Clark. Strong drive and a great dish to Lauren Webb.
Touches, because at the moment what they do is just settling again. Just tells you how amazing defense AZ Fat is playing on Jade Melbourne.
Who scored an easy bucket.
The 5-in, 5-out substitution pattern, Danilo, what does that say about the depth of this team when you have Caitlin Clark?
And that's an easy shot for her deep.
Picked up by Young. Now it's Caitlin Clark in transition. Gets it to Paige Beckers, and Beckers.
So people, okay, it is so obvious that Caitlin Clark is on a whole other level, okay? I mean, you could talk about the threes, and they certainly are amazing, but I'm in agreement with Steph Curry, who said that if that's all you're going to talk about, then you're kind of diminishing everything else that she brings to the game. She is amazing. You know, people say that she can't play defense. I see no evidence of that, actually. I can see her playing defense very well, quite frankly. She's a great passer. She's a great floor leader. She has a great basketball IQ. She's a great outside shooter. She can take the ball to the hoop. There has never been a more complete basketball player than Caitlin Clark. Okay, and it's probably going to be a very long time before we see one. There may be other great shooters. There may be other great passers. There may be other great rebounders. But you know what? As somebody said, and this was a pro player, okay, a male pro player, we may see another woman play like Caitlin Clark in about 20 years. So, um, again, uh, let me just say this, and let me just in closing revisit the whole issue of not protecting Sophie Cunningham. There are rumors out there that Brianna Stewart, our girl Stewie, who I absolutely love, uh, may not be protected by the New York Liberty because they have so many decisions to make on that team about who to protect and who not to protect. They think in the same way that the Fever are thinking of Sophie Cunningham. Okay, that she's an unrestricted free agent. She's going to command a huge salary, and they may choose not to protect her and take that risk. Now that's a huge risk because, by all measure, Sophie Cunningham is also not Stewie. So we're going to see how this goes. Tomorrow is April Fool's Day, okay, and that means on Friday we will see the expansion draft, and we will see where we go from there. Things will be a little bit clearer, okay? And then we have free agency coming up. And I maintain that that is where the Indiana Fever are going to do the bulk of their work in building a championship team for 2026. So you guys have a great night, and I will certainly talk to you tomorrow evening. And I have yet another great highlight reel for you. So have a good one.